Social Awareness Project Solutions. Social awareness is a tricky thing. This is a project that was done by several graphic designers who wanted to see if they incorporated professional design into helping homeless people get the help that they need. Would it be effective? The response was interesting. People said, look, if you can make signs like that, you don't need our help. And they didn't help them. Even though a lot of these people were clean and sober and just were hard on their luck, they felt this was too good. It didn't meet people's expectations. There's an important or valuable lesson to learn here. If you're going to make a persuasive argument for change, you need to know where people are starting off mentally so you can meet them there and take them where you need them to go. In the design industry, we have a term we call UX, and that's about user experience. Part of bringing that audience to where you need to go is you need to think about where are you starting from? Or if you're not starting from a place, maybe it's so unusual, like, I didn't know that smoking caused blindness. Maybe an interactive experience is important. So the user experience here is getting the audience to interact with the design. This is a very powerful use of persuasion. And there are a lot of creative ways you can get your audience to participate. Shocking ways. So when you're looking at these, you're looking at RN. Okay, or wait, is that a girl with a balloon or is that a dog? This was a campaign by Fiat, the car makers, basically asking people not to text and drive. Because what they're arguing, their slogan for the campaign is, you either see the letter or you see the girl. You either see the letter or you see the dog, but you can't see both. That might make you think twice before you text and drive. Sometimes when you're making a persuasive argument, it's important to be topical what's going on in the news. For example, someone was reporting they were a whistleblower for war crimes, and they were able to catch them because of their email trail or their computer thumbprint, if you will. So what this person did is to make people aware about how can we protect whistleblowers if something horrible happens. They invented a font that cannot be read by computers. One of the largest reasons why people don't get motivated for social change or why people don't change their opinions is because they really honestly think it doesn't affect me. This was a really, really effective campaign put out by Amnesty International. And what they did was they put the problems in a mirror. So you would see yourself right next to the problem. Like, it's not happening here. And then you read the next line, but it's happening now. And you see yourself next to a child soldier. We don't have a problem with children starving here. Actually, almost every country in the world has a problem with starvation with the poor. And to see yourself reflected with that puts you in this situation that's normally very easily to mentally divorce yourself from. This is great UX design, user experience design. The argument the World Wildlife Federation here is making is deforestation could affect our ability to breathe, our oxygen levels. Plants and trees act as a natural filtration device for what we put in the atmosphere. This is a brilliant concept. This was part of a heartbreaking campaign that was put out by the United Nations Women's Organization. This was based off of Google's algorithm. And what that means is if you type in something to Google, right, in the little box, it'll give you suggestions. It uses that algorithm to tell you what most people have looked up. So for example, if I type in dogs are, it may say something like lovely, sloppy, messy, cute, adorable, the chewer of shoes. Unfortunately, this campaign, when you typed in, they found out women shouldn't, it reported, have rights, vote, work, and box. I don't have a daughter, but I have a lot of young women who I either mentor or I teach. I want to help create warriors because I know how hard these women have to fight for their hopes and dreams. just like our young men do too. I want to empower our young women with the tools to succeed, just like our young men. But this is some of what they battle against. Sometimes humor is a very persuasive technique. Listen to this. If I say, she's just a friend, sounds very different than she's just a friend. And sometimes stark simplicity is the most effective way of making a persuasive argument. This is from a brilliant campaign from Brazil. And I think you can identify with what superhero they're connecting to, right? And Spider-Man's great slogan is, with great powers comes great responsibility. Well, this is a campaign for organ donors. Now, they can't use that slogan before because then they'd owe a check to Marvel, but they did use the real power lies inside of you. What does a superhero do? They save lives. What does an organ donor do? Again, they save lives. And I want to remind you all, we're making visual arguments. How can you use imagery to really sell the concept? Listen, my true alarm clock in the morning is my coffee drinking, which according to most of my students, then that means I'm never awake because I'm always drinking coffee. And that fire hydrant as Tabasco is brilliant. Sleepiness is stronger than you. This is a campaign making people aware, don't drive when you're tired. Pull over, take a nap, or wait. You see that eye fighting how tired it is. And you know as soon as that eye closes, that car, unfortunately, is going to connect to that child on that bicycle. There are many studies to show that smoking does age you, and showing that to your audience is a very powerful and persuasive technique. This was an ad pointing out that every 60 seconds a species dies out. And it makes you question, what's our contribution to this? It just goes to make you think. And speaking of extinction, this campaign by the World Wildlife Federation I thought was incredibly powerful. Yeah, snakes are terrifying, no joke. But imagine a world without them. On average, sharks attack human beings roughly 16 times per year. Every 2 years, there's a fatality. Human beings, on the other hand, kill globally roughly 100 million sharks per year. We're lucky they exist as a species. And making arguments about how we treat animals is very important. Like makeup and product testing. I'm sorry, but if you spray anything in anybody's eye, I don't care what species you are, you're going to have a problem. Showing vulnerability when you're making a persuasive argument visually is also very important. This was a campaign that I thought was extremely effective about, again, ending animal abuse. And we do need to take care of our oceans. 1 billion people every day rely on the ocean as their food supply, directly. And some of the species in there are getting wiped out. For example, the bluefin tuna. Maybe the argument is here, if you thought they were cuter, like a panda, we'd care about them more. You go, oh, come on, Farrell. Could we be that simple as a species? Maybe we are. I know I don't like bugs, but maybe the next time I squish a bug, I need to consider that might be the last few of their species. And here the World Wildlife Federation is asking us to consider, what are we putting in our oceans? Some scientists speculate there's over 150 million metric tons of plastic floating in our marine environments. And we know fish are ingesting some of that plastic. And guess who eats the fish? We do. Are we poisoning ourselves? That's the brilliance of this image created by the Ford Company. Those who help nature end up helping themselves. What goes around comes around. It's not a hard argument to make. And maybe one of the reasons we struggle with taking care of our oceans is we have a hard enough time taking care of ourselves. Just look at this image, asking us to stop drinking and driving or distracted driving. And social awareness campaigns serve as that little reminder of things we need to be reminded of how to take care of ourselves better. Like, for example, there are statistics that show that if people have pets, they live happier and longer lives. And this campaign by Pedigree is asking you, hey, instead of just going to buy that dog, because a lot of dogs are being overbred, why don't you adopt one? Because there's a lot that need to be adopted. And by the way, since this crisis has happened, adoption shelters are reporting very high adoption rates. Go humanity on that one. Good job. And I'll fairly admit, as an artist, I'm not the best example of what an environmentalist is. I use paper all the time. And where does paper come from? From trees. Now, the deforestation of the rainforest is a serious issue because we're not just affecting the animals that live in the rainforest, but we're affecting ourselves. I am not going to debate global climate change. I am not a scientist, even though I pretend to be one as an art teacher. But this, I feel, is a very powerful visual argument. No one wants to be homeless. No one wants to cause homelessness. Again, very visually strong. I think what's most powerful about these campaigns is we're all more acutely aware of what home is right now than any other time in our lives, because we've had to spend more time at home than any other time in our lives. And believe it or not, one of the greatest motivators for a social awareness project is not anger or fear, but it's gratefulness. It's about seeing what you have and appreciating it and wishing that others had that same too, whether it be love or a roof over your head or food. We can affect change that other people can have those things too. So channel who you're grateful for and what you're grateful for. Let that be a motivator for you. I look forward to seeing your final social awareness projects. Please reach out for any help that you need. I am here for you. I'm Farrell, and this has been a Braden River High School art production.